champions, our defenses. I got to watch that last night in great detail. Our defense is playing at an extremely high level. I haven't watched all the secondaries in the country, defensive backfield, but I take ours, especially the way they're playing, the way they work, the way they're coached. We went from one of the worst pass defenses in America 2 years ago. I know we're number one in the Big Ten, but we have to be up there in the national rankings. I haven't seen that, but playing at a high level. And that's obviously correlated with the pressure we get to put on the quarterback. Taekwon Lewis graded a champion. Joey Bosa, Adolphus Washington, Raekwon McMillan, Josh Perry, Eli Apple, Gurion Conley, Tyvis Powell, and the co-players of the game were Darren Lee and Von Bell. So obviously the ones that did not were, looks like we have a couple interior guys, but the 4 guys in the secondary, 3 backers. That's a heck of a day against an offense we have a lot of respect for going into. Guys that an offense is not just we felt had a very good quarterback, and skilled, but well coached, did a variety of things that our guys practiced well. On offense, no champions. We did not do well. One of the worst executed performances that since we've been here, and so we'll get that corrected. Special teams was solid. We had let's see here. Players special efforts was Jalen Marshall and Eric Smith. And Von Bell also got the award for kickoff cover. And then the special team player of the game was Chris Worley. And just great effort on punt kickoff and punt block start on 3 phases. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit it with the quarterback situation. That seems to be a theme. And had a conversation with one of them yesterday. I'm going to have another one today. And I think because of all the intrigued by it, that you'll hear someone say that, how can you play quarterback with someone looking over your shoulder? And my comment to that person was, well, I mean, it wasn't, no one's complaining, but how do you not, if you think you're going to play the next level, they're going to be standing, there's going to be probably one better than you standing right next to you, so get used to it. You are going to look. That doesn't mean you get looked. If you have a bad day, you get replaced. And that might not be everyone's philosophy, and that's okay. That's okay. So we're going to play. I haven't decided yet. We're going to have conversations. And today, not one is beating out the other. And they're not playing great. So once again, if that's an excuse, which I call it an excuse of how can you perform with someone looking over your shoulder. NFL quarterbacks do. I've never had one not. We always had a backup quarterback. Just happens the backup quarterback here, whoever it may be, is really good. So we have to get them performing. That's not that. We just have to perform better. And we're turning the ball over at an alarming rate, and we're not playing well in the offensive front. So all those things have been addressed, and it's more coaching than player performance. So we're going to get that fixed, and I expect a much better performance Saturday from our guys. So with that said, answer any questions.
Front row right, Austin.
Urban, if you say that not one has beaten out the other yet, does that mean that Cardale is still likely to start? When you go through a week, can you take us through how you have managed these guys in terms of practice reps and game preparation?
Cardale's got most of the 1 reps. He's a high volume right now guy. JT's a very efficient guy, and he stands right behind him, gets the same reps, just not actually behind center. So those are all things that haven't been determined yet.
Do you think that any of the offensive line seems that the last couple of weeks struggled? Does that have anything to do with playing 2 different quarterbacks?
No. It has something to do with facing a variety of defenses. We did not prepare our guys for the, once again, it just sounds bizarre, and it is. But there's more than one change the whole defense, and we weren't able to adjust and adapt, and we slowed down the offense line. So we're playing defense and offense right now, and it's not working. So we're going to take a much more aggressive approach to the way we go about our business.
Second row right, David.
Furman, kind of an offbeat local question, but last week on your radio show you mentioned you tried to hire Toledo coach Matt Campbell for your staff. Going back to that time, what stood out about him? And I guess you can just take me back to that time.
That's a great question. He at the time was the number 1 assistant at Toledo, and I was putting together a staff from scratch. And I kind of had an idea with Tom Herman, because I worked on that a little bit previous to that. But other than that, no idea. And then I started recruiting, and he's really well known throughout the state of Ohio. Obviously got Bowling Green ties, where I do too. And then obviously have Mount Union ties, which I know those guys real well too. It was just, the feedback was real positive. And we have a great relationship, and I think he's a star in the business right now.
Front row, Bill.
When you watch the tape of the offensive performance, what stood out to you? Was it a bunch of different things? Was it one
A
common
bunch of
thread?
different things, and obviously when no one grades a winning performance, bunch of different things.
No theme at all, or was it just each time it was somebody else messing up?
If someone's going to ask this question, we didn't play very well, and it wasn't. We don't do this anyway. It's not the quarterback, it's not the O-line. It's a variety of things that we have to play better. If you look historically, what Ohio State offense is for us, it's control the line of scrimmage, best perimeter blocking in America, which we had last year, and a very good solid play action passing attack. And that's not what's going on. So we're going to get that fixed.
Front row, Dave.
Coach, this is obviously your offense, but there was a lot of turnover on the offensive coaching staff during the offseason. Do you feel like, are you guys all on the same page right now? Are you happy with?
It's not as smooth. Anytime you have transition, we lost two. Stan Drayton was a very quality coach, and so is Tom Herman, obviously. But we hired two very quality guys. I just think we're going to adapt and change some things, and I'm anxious to wish we could play tomorrow.
Coach Herman used to always talk about how he liked calling the plays from the press box. It was a sterile environment. He just enjoyed that. Everybody's different. Is that something you guys might look into?
We're looking into some of that. Ed Warner, it's not like demotion or something like that, but we're going to, and Tim's been here long enough now. The way it would work is I'd say Tim or Dan Mullen or Tom Herman run this, and go, and we're on the same page. We're not quite there yet. And then also, if we go jet tempo, that's got to be from upstairs because you can't see anything down there. So those are all things we're going to get cleaned up.
Second row, middle, Ryan.
If there's ever something you don't like out of a specialist, all those guys have their own coaches generally, and Cam's is in Australia. So how do you handle that dynamic? Do you just let them sort it out with their coaches? Do you ever talk to them, and just how do you deal with that?
As far as getting that extra coaching,
Yeah.
I met the guy, and he came over and visited us, and obviously they're far away. But I almost think that a specialist, a kicker or a punter, should have that extra guy that he works with. I know our kicker does, and no, I encourage that, because we don't, unfortunately, only have 9 coaches, and I'm kind of the guy that coaches those guys. Punting, I have pretty good understanding of. Kicking, I really don't. And so I always encourage those guys to have a leader or a mentor or a coach that work with them in the off season.
Do you let them handle everything? Like if there's something you don't, if Cam's not getting enough hang time or Sean's.
Punting, we handle that.
Okay.
The kicking is the strange guys, those kickers. So through the upright.
Far left, Matt.
You mentioned turnovers, turning the ball over. How do you handle that other than emphasizing it? Is there anything you do when?
Yeah, you have to look at how and you evaluate each one. We had 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions. One was, all 3 are absolutely inexcusable. Sometimes there'll be something where a guy gets hit as he's delivering the ball. Zeke Elliott, who's usually pretty good, laid on the ground, and Curtis has really been good. Dropped, got his helmet right on the ball. So I'm evaluating. That has an impact on who touches the ball. I see Mike Thomas one time didn't fumble, but he swung his arm around, and we just really watched that, teach through it, coach through it. That's how.
There was also they weren't turnovers, but some sloppiness in terms of
Drop balls.
Yeah. Is that? I'm just wondering, are guys trying to do too much? Do you see pressing there? Or
That's a good question. Yeah, it's a fight for the ball a little bit too. That's a very good question, and I guess if you only play 3 guys, but we play more than 3 because we have more than 3. I'm talking about the skill set. So that's observant, and I think there's something to that. That's our job to call it down and let it go play. Because there was one's right here, we dropped the ball. Other one we motion in, and between the exchange, we dropped the ball.
Front row left, Doug.
Urban, you talk a lot about wanting to get the ball to your best playmakers. Do you feel like you guys have been doing that? Did you do that Saturday with the play calling?
No. And then, a couple times we did, it didn't get to them. So we'll get better.
Specifically with Braxton, you guys, I think, had 8 direct snaps to him against Hawaii. I think it was just 2 last week. Do you like that direct snap to him? Is it possible that takes this quarterback out of any rhythm when he comes in for that?
Yeah, I like it because it's one of the best athletes in America with the ball in his hand, and is there sometimes a rhythmic issue? It worked pretty well against Virginia Tech, and so we're not going to stop that. Maybe we won't do as many. That's a flow of the game type thing, because you don't. We have some cue runs, and you don't want to necessarily hammer your other quarterback. So.
And in looking back, obviously you said there were multiple areas offensively where things weren't going right. When you took Cardale out of the game, was that the right time to take him out, or looking back, is there any second thoughts about you about?
I think it's the right time.
What made you?
Turnovers.
That read on that second turnover was. So I guess the question is, it seemed like JT had a similar read on his pick later, but he didn't come out.
Right.
So how do you determine what causes a change at quarterback? Again, is it just?
Well, it's a feel of the game. It's not something I've written down, and it's something that I have to make sure that you're on the same page that they are. And so that's not easy. The thing that I worry about, and I know is happening, is just the overwhelming mess that on these 19, 20, 21-year-olds, as far as, that's why I'm probably going to say just stay away from the quarterback for a while and just get settled in and go. Very unique situation that, I constantly evaluate, am I doing the right thing? And I don't know any better other than if you have a very good player at the number 2 spot, number 1's not performing, go in there. If your number 2 is not very good, then, but I don't know where that, at this kind of level, I don't know where that is. That's when I hear that, most of the people say I haven't played a whole lot. But every once in a while I hear someone say, how can I play with? Well, I'm not looking over your shoulder. If you just perform pretty good. If it's not good, then you have to make a change. We had to win that darn game. That was a close game.
Last couple questions. Back row left, Marty.
Coach, you're a psychology guy. What's the difference in psychology between Hunter and Huntle, and how has that psychology affected your kids?
I think great question, Marty. I think it's affected us offensively. And we're playing defense and offense right now, and we don't do that. Some people do. We don't. Our history is we want to score a lot of points. We want to. Our objective is to score a lot of points and still play great defense. So, very good question. It's something that we have got. I feel on offense, not defense. Defense or special teams. This whole program is a hunter. On offense right now for a variety of reasons, and not the players. We're sitting back and we're not going to do anything.
And final questions, Tim.
Yeah, Urban, a couple. Number one, you kind of hinted at it earlier from the quarterback situation. Are you thinking about going with one guy now and see how it goes, or?
So I did.
You understand what I'm
I
saying?
did go
Yeah.
with one guy.
Yeah.
The guy didn't perform well, so we went with the backup.
Yeah, yeah.
There was no set thing saying that we're a 2-quarterback system. We're not. The backup's a very good player, whomever that may be. So we are going with the guy.
Yeah. And then number 2, you guys, I'm not going to say you live on it, but what sets y'all apart is your explosive plays, and you had them against Virginia Tech and stuff. And it just sort of, do you feel a little bit of a frustration there too in the offense about not getting those?
As is Marty's question, you're going to hunt it instead of a turn. So yeah, those are all addressed. You're exactly right. We recruit players to have explosive plays. We give them opportunities to have explosive plays, and over the last several years, the majority have made them. And we're not doing that right now. So that's a high emphasis right now. Thanks, guys.
Coach, thank you.
Coach.